So, hi,
Hi,
good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're listening today. I think you're US based as well. Am I right?
I'm actually Toronto.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, Ontario, Canada based.
Okay. So in my like general vicinity, at least, some people are way out there.
Yeah, yeah.
So, all right. Do you go by Carolyn or Caroline?
Caroline.
Caroline. Okay. Caroline Elizabeth is a business coach and marketing consultant to women entrepreneurs who are feeling stuck or bored in their businesses and ready to step into their next level with confidence, clarity, and control. After working for herself for almost a decade as a freelance writer and marketer, Caroline began coaching women entrepreneurs. And the lessons she's learned through challenges and wins as an entrepreneur is something she shares with her clients and audience to motivate, inspire, and teach them how to carve their own professional path in a way that feels true to who they are and the mission they want to lead. And obviously, we can learn more about you at buildyourbrilliance.com, which I think is a fantastic brand name. I love it.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me and having this platform so, we can share. And happy International Women's Day. Sorry.
Yes,
It is when we're recording, so I
I
know
know.
it's
I know.
women.
Yes, my daughter was just having me watch the Google, you know, how the little videos on Google.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
just a song, it's a
I
cute little
haven't
song.
seen it yet, so yeah, yeah.
She was like, I learned about those. We have to watch it real quick. So, it is today
Watch
is
it.
International Women's Day, but I feel like every day should be Women's Day.
I agree. I But thank you
So,
for having me on and having this platform so we can all share our knowledge and journeys with everybody. So
yeah, I feel like a lot of people, promote what they do, but, I feel like the most important part is sharing how you got there because a lot of people want your services, but even more people want to know what you did to be successful because maybe they're doing something similar or, just are interested. I like learning about it, even if it's not my business, I want to see how they tick.
yeah, yeah, everybody has a journey. And I think when we share that in a genuine way and share the kind of the pitfalls and all of that, that's so important to help
Yeah.
us life along.
So tell us a little bit about your business and then we can kind of go into how you got there.
Sure. So my business right now is, well, I'm a business coach and marketing
Hmm.
consultant, and what that means specifically for my clients is they come to me when they're feeling a bit stuck or they've reached a plateau, and they're not quite sure, what or how to what their next step is or how to get themselves to that next step.
Hmm.
So what I do with them is I help them clarify their big goals, help them kind of get that mindset in place. Because there is a different mindset when you start a business and then when you're now going, okay, I've done this and now where else can I go with it? So I help them with that. And I love putting together campaigns, marketing campaigns, really teaching people how to write in a conversational way. And so I guide them as well, through my marketing consulting. So
Hmm.
they get both a business coach and a consultant with me.
That's awesome. I like your combo. What is the length of time that you usually work with somebody?
Okay, so usually I work with them on a 3 month basis, because I believe it takes at least 3 months to find to get a transformation in your business and in your life. So typically we work together over that 3 months so that they can see together with me right beside them just how transformative you know this process is, because it is a process. And we begin with a real intense consult, and then from there they kind of take the reins on their own, and but they're with me as an accountability partner. So it definitely does take the 3 months. On Also, I should mention, I do provide, kind of like half day consults. So
Hmm.
I'm a very intense. I like to work with my clients in a very kind of specific way and time frame, because I don't believe what we can do together can happen in an hour.
Hmm.
I think it's important to give it that time.
Yeah. No, even though I want like to snap my fingers and make everything better, it doesn't
Yeah,
work like that.
yeah, exactly. Never, never.
So when you started your business out, what is something that you wish you'd known?
Okay, so I wish I had known to listen to myself. So when I started my business, I guess in a general way, when I started like working for myself in general,
Hmm.
I was still in that kind of box of, okay, I need to listen to a boss. I need
Hmm.
to, listen to other people and kind of take what they're telling me and put it into my own process. And I really wish that I had listened to myself a lot more. So I didn't have that self confidence to realize that what I thought would be a great direction for a service or a great direction for a marketing strategy, for example, or just having conversations like being on this podcast and just sharing. I didn't know that I could actually do that without having the permission kind of somebody
Hmm.
first. So what I would do a lot is try to imitate people and try to, really take somebody else's process and make it my own without, having that confidence and ability to kind of create my own.
Hmm.
I think it's important to take other people's processes and journeys and use them as inspiration.
Yes.
But I also think now looking back, I wish that I had known that instead of just tried to copy many different people and processes, so
That's what
and
we know.
yeah, that's what we know. I know. But at the same time, I think when I started working for myself, I didn't have the support system, the support
Hmm.
network. So even the results that I got my clients, I just wish that I celebrated those more too. I wish that it wasn't always a question mark. So confidence, and it's nice now to know, not nice because I wish it wasn't nice, or I wish it wasn't happening, but
Hmm.
it is nice or comforting to know that so many other entrepreneurs feel that way too. You go into this new kind of world, right? And many of us come from a place of structure. You go to school, you go and you don't start your own business, but you kind of help somebody else with their own,
Yeah.
or you join a company. And so
Hmm.
suddenly becoming a boss, becoming the CEO of your company, you need to have that confidence and that ability to make decisions and stick with them.
Hmm.
So that's what I wish I had. That's what I
Yeah.
wish I had.
Well, and that's part of the, like you were saying, the copying is that it's, we copy education plans and we copy career paths because those are very straightforward. This is what we've done. And so I feel like entrepreneurship is so free that it is easy to get weighed down, and the support systems are
Uh,
difficult to find, and you kind of see everyone making it already, and that's not always the case. I feel
yeah.
like that's really hard too, is you see everyone ahead of you, or you feel like they're ahead of you and they might not be, because it's kind of a place where you need to put your best foot forward and you can have the vulnerability. But I feel like everyone is just putting out that they're making it, they're crushing it, and you don't see that they're struggling really.
I don't know, there isn't enough of that. And it's interesting now as I see more and more so people who are out there and they're putting out, their amazing stories
Hmm.
um and all their wins. But then a few months later, I'll see those same people admit that, oh, at that time, they weren't actually doing as well as they made us feel. So I
Hmm.
appreciate that honesty, but at the same
Hmm.
time, I wish I had that honesty when they were going through that struggle. So I'm actually trying to be more honest with my audience in that sense
Hmm.
myself, because it is really helpful to, and it's important to develop that trust and just say, hey, I'm struggling while also maintaining your professionalism.
Well, that's the hard line right there.
It's a balance, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's easier to talk about, even though it's still taboo, is to talk about like mental struggles that are unrelated to your business. If you're like, oh, I'm just really blue today, I feel like people will associate with that and respect it. But I feel like if you have a business struggle and you're putting yourself as a professional for people to hire you as a business professional, it's still kind of like,
Yeah.
rocky, because you want to say like, no, I can help you with yours, even if I'm struggling with mine. But it's like, how do you get them to have that level of confidence?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think with me, I mean, just back to that, I think it's that this is why it's so important to have a mission and a message so that you can have, this whole, okay, why are you in business and helping people? What is that overall kind of core message, as I like to call it? What is that core message that you're sharing with your audience? And those struggles that you're currently going through, like maybe you take on a really bad client and you didn't realize that this client was going to be a bad client. Maybe that
Mm-hmm.
could be something that you could share with your audience in the here and now, and it still goes along with that core message that you're sharing. It depends what your core message is, but
Mm-hmm.
with me, that would be something that I would gladly share with my clients. That would be because I am very much like very passionate about helping people work with their ideal clients. I'm
Sure.
very passionate about helping people find their message. So if I did for by chance come across someone who, you know, who became a client, wasn't an ideal client, that's definitely something that I would share with my audience and just be like, my bad. I didn't realize
Mm-hmm.
that this situation was going to come up, but these are kind of the steps that kind of led up to it so that you don't have to lead up to this. And these are the steps that I took not to burn bridges with this person, for
Mm-hmm.
example. So yeah, always keep in mind your message, your mission, and that intent of why you want to share your vulnerable side, how it
Mm-hmm.
makes sense to your business, of
Yeah,
course.
and I don't want to pick on that example too much, but like if you were going to talk about a client that it didn't work out with,
Yeah.
they're a part of your audience though, aren't they?
Right. Yeah, I think for me especially, I would think they would be a part of my audience, but then I think it's also important to kind of take that as a lesson as, okay, they're a part of my audience, and why are they a part of my audience? What is going on with my own marketing message
Mm-hmm.
that is you know, bringing this in, and then what is going on with my own process that allowed
Mm-hmm.
that to happen. So I think anything negative that does happen in your business, and you kind of have to use it as a lesson
Oh yeah.
to move forward. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
was more saying you wouldn't want to be like bashing a client to
yeah.
potential clients. You know what I mean? Like, oh, if it doesn't work out with you, you're going to be my next example on this Facebook.
No, no. Yeah. So it's
Tact.
yeah,
Needs tact.
absolutely. You have to maintain that level of professionalism
Hmm.
no matter what. But also be genuine with your audience and not just be like, hey, social media, awesome all the time.
Yeah, well, I feel like with the client wins, like it might not be like it's not working out with this client, but some people struggle with getting more clients. And so it's like that's something that's hard to give exposure to because you're saying that you're, not successful or they
Yeah,
might feel like that.
I think in that sense, I think you have to be if you're not bringing in enough clients, I think you just have to treat it um, as like an experiment, like
Hmm.
why aren't I bringing in these clients?
Hmm.
What is not working, or what has worked in the past? And am I still doing those steps? And if I am, how has the market changed? How have the platforms that I'm using changed?
Hmm.
And you can be honest kind of in that sense,
That's
just
true. Show them
kind
that
of
level.
show them, hey, you know what? This is why marketing is always important, because
Mm.
what you're using right now is not necessarily going to be something that you can use in the future. So there is always an ebb and flow in marketing.
Hmm.
There's always that, there's always a challenge that audiences are using one thing. I mean, a few years ago, Twitter was a great way for me to find clients, and I'm not finding clients on Twitter. I'm not even on Twitter anymore. Like, I have a very dead Twitter account right now.
Hmm.
um, so you just have to be willing to kind of make those changes as you see. So I really do think that everybody, even the most successful people out there, do find that, oh my gosh, I'm not finding clients in the way I was finding clients before.
Hmm.
And I think it's okay to share that kind of information. So
Yeah.
all about making those connections and where you're finding them. And sometimes it doesn't work out as it used to.
Yeah. Most of the time I see those stories, it's like, it wasn't working. And so I did this and now it's working. Like you hear like the success part of it, but not
Yeah.
like the
the
it's just not working part.
and then you
Which,
hear about it, and you hear about it 6 months after they were going through that struggle. So it would be nice to
exactly.
be in real time with them more.
Yeah, because you're
That's
not
what I'm
alone.
trying
Like,
to do.
yeah, you're not the only one in that step right now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
What was the big challenge that you had to overcome?
So a big challenge. Oh gosh, so many of them. Um, for me, I was a huge people pleaser.
Okay.
Huge. And I think so many of us can relate to this.
Mm-hmm.
So a big challenge for me when I first started, especially working for myself, and even years into working for myself, was what others would think of me.
Mm-hmm.
And this included people I didn't know online, and family and friends.
Mm-hmm.
So back to the ideal client, I would take on any client that would come my way because of this.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think, okay, you want to negotiate your rates? Okay, I don't want you to think anything of me, anything bad of me.
Mm-hmm.
You decide how much I'm worth, like
Yeah.
this thing. So I would also, if there was some sort of conflict, and I'm talking years ago now, especially when I was freelance writing, and I would take on just kind of, I'm making myself sound like I just have had really bad clients, which isn't true. I've had amazing clients and I
Okay.
love them.
But I'm asking negative questions, so we'll
Negative
go to the
questions,
good ones.
yeah, but there have been those instances where I would literally hide they're aggressive. I am not an aggressive, dominant personality, and yet here I am taking on dominant personality clients. That was a
Mm-hmm.
big problem with me. So they would want to get on these calls and have like have these conversations that I just wasn't mentally prepared for, because
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted them to like me,
Yeah.
when I was really worried about them, um, what they thought of me. So
Mm-hmm.
that was a big challenge for me to overcome. I couldn't also imagine myself doing interviews like this. I couldn't imagine myself growing a group as I have, or doing Facebook lives or Instagram lives, things that I have, gotten over. And
Mm-hmm.
so how I beat this challenge. Okay, so how I beat this challenge, I knew I had to kind of become really uncomfortable. So knowing this, seeing how other people were progressing as an entrepreneur, I
Mm-hmm.
saw that they were being comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I had to make situations for myself to kind of go in and just feel really judged, even though they weren't judging me.
Yeah.
I had to make that situation for myself. So one thing that was really helpful for me, being an introvert entrepreneur working online,
Mm-hmm.
was becoming the Canadian president of a women's networking group. So somebody
Nice.
from Florida contacted me. She has this large networking group. It's called Fem City. It was called Femfessionals at the time, and they were looking for a Canadian president. They found me on LinkedIn, and after a few interviews online, they hired me, and I was like, oh my God, this is really terrifying. And wow, here I am afraid of what other people are going to think of me. And then I have to stand up in front of a group of women, and not only that, but also create events for them
Mm-hmm.
and put together a board of directors for them. And so this was amazing for me, because it really got me out of that comfort zone and made me proud of what I created up here. Um, and another thing, I mean, I'm gonna say it, and I really do believe that hiring my own coach really helped me,
Mm-hmm.
because she helped kind of shine a light on where I was struggling and why I was struggling, and also provided me with accountability,
Mm-hmm.
and also, really kind of took me out of that whole people pleasing mode that I was in. And that was just over 3 years ago. So it took me, I've been self-employed now for 10 years. So it took me 7 years to kind of get over that, until I finally hired in support and hired in a mentor, to really help me through that. And she was both, a business coach and a life coach, as I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of coaches are, and you need to be, because you've got to have that mindset shift.
Yep.
So that incredible support. So whatever it is you hire, you've got to have that support for your mindset to shift. And you've got to really get out of your comfort zone. So
Mhm.
those two things really help me with my challenge of being a people pleaser.
Yeah. No, I think that's true with a lot of people, is that, you tie your money and your self-worth to people that are hiring you, you
Yeah,
know? You think,
yeah,
well, they're
absolutely.
hiring me, I need to please them.
Yeah, and I think there needs to be that shift from, okay, that could be an employee, mindset
Mhm.
to that CEO mindset of, okay, I'm running a business. You want this transformation. You want these results. So
Yep.
as my client, I'm going to provide them for you. And as my client, you need to trust me to make that happen for you.
Yeah.
So there needs to be that shift that I know isn't easy in the beginning, but it has
Mhm.
to happen.
Yep. And
So.
respect most of the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. And respect, I think, it starts in the marketing and the conversations.
Mhm.
So,
And one more slightly negative question, and then we'll do positive one. If you could go back and change anything, what would it be? Like, would you hire your business coach earlier? That one stuck out to me. That's all I can
I,
think of.
I honestly would. I would hire my business coach earlier. But one also big thing, because I think the ideal client thing has really helped my business. Now I
Mhm.
work with, I know the people that are coming to me and the people who are hiring me they're
Mhm.
going to be a blast to work with. So I would
Nice.
really get clear on who my ideal client is and start talking to them. And
Mhm.
so really get out there and just talk to them, talk to all the people through my writing, through conversations.
Mhm.
That has really been a tremendous help as well as the business coach.
Who is your ideal client?
So my ideal client are women who have creative online service businesses, mainly online, although I have worked with people who have offline businesses as well.
Mhm.
So that's not a big thing. But my ideal client is someone who knows what she wants out of her life. But she's also trusting of who, like my ideal client is, so she's also trusting of me to help her along the way.
Mhm.
And she is ready for that support, and she's ready for that accountability. So my ideal client, is a lot about her personality than her industry.
Mhm.
And it's important to kind of know that personality feel, so creative, she's ready, she's willing, she's ready to be, she's able to be coached, she is
Mhm.
somebody who wants that help. So
Yep.
um yeah, so I feel like now and she has a vision for her business.
Mhm.
So it's somebody who is just ready. I am ready to go, and somebody who is self-aware enough to admit that they're stuck.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's a big win that was in your business that kind of made you feel like, aha, I got this?
Okay. I think honestly going back to that challenge is getting out of my comfort zone.
Mhm.
I honestly don't think I would be where I am today if I didn't step out of my comfort zone. I honestly don't think I would be where I am if I just said, Caroline, go for it, lead a group of women that don't know you out of, in
Mhm.
Toronto, do sales calls, ask people for sales, and,
Mhm.
just, and put your rates at a rate that they should be, but you
Mhm.
feel a little uncomfortable with. Like, do things that are making you uncomfortable. I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud that I've been able to step out of that comfort. And that comfort zone is so easy, especially when it's like so easy when you have an online business.
Mhm.
Because here I am in my office every day. I'm not,
Mhm.
shaking hands literally with people. I'm kind of in this little space. So especially when you have an online business, you have to get out of that comfort zone in order to experience those wins. So for
Mhm.
that, I'm really grateful.
Here's
Yeah.
an interesting question that came just to me as you were talking about that. How do you feel about people who post their packages and their prices on their site versus having someone come and like talk to you first?
Yeah, I think it's funny because I've done both.
Mm.
And so the reason why I've done both is this is my own personal experience. The
Mhm.
reason why I have posted my rates in the past is because I was in a transition period. I was basically saying, these are my ideal clients. Hey, this is going to be my rate, and don't call me if it's not going to work out for you, because I was in a transition period.
Okay.
um, Now I know exactly who I'm talking to. I talk to them regularly through content, through articles, through blogging, through social media, whatever. At that point, I feel like they're more interested in the results that they're getting and the value, and they know that, hey, Caroline's not going to be cheap,
Mhm.
and with that, she's also going to get me results. So I am very happy to talk about my rates with them on the phone, but I want them to be ready
Mhm.
first. And if it doesn't work out, if the rate thing, if the, how much I cost is a big deal, that's fine with them.
Mhm.
No, they might come back to me later, but I really want them to see that working with me is going to bring them value first and foremost.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to that. I think it depends who your audience is and what
Mhm.
you personally, because this is such a personal journey,
Mhm.
entrepreneurship is,
Mhm.
you make that decision, so
Yeah.
I think it's okay either way.
Yeah, it's funny because I see
Yeah.
both and everyone always has reasons one way or the other. I think with people not posting that there's some anxiety around like I'm going to get on the phone with this person, they're going to hard pitch me is one of them, or I'm going to feel pressured, or they might feel, uncomfortable saying no because, of a price. Nobody wants to admit they don't have money for something, nobody wants to admit that. And I think that's hard too.
I think just going to that about the hard pressure and everything, I don't want to hard pressure people.
Yeah,
I
I
want,
wasn't saying you do, but you've
no, no, no,
totally
not,
talked to people that have.
I just mean, it's one of those things, yeah, if it's like, it's such a personal decision
Hmm.
and I want them to get something out of our call no matter what,
Yeah,
I
nice. I like
want
that.
them yeah. So I want them to have some sort of realization from our
Hmm.
call. And I try to make that clear before we talk to each other, and I
Hmm.
want them to kind of feel like, okay, I got this, thank you so much, so their time isn't wasted and my time isn't wasted either, because then
Yeah,
they're also part of my audience, which is awesome. I think
yeah,
going into things in a helpful way is the best way.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree, and I feel like it also gives you a taste for working with the person because it's hard to sign up for a big program, a big investment if you're like, oh well, I've read their content, but like, what is it like to work with them?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's why people like mini challenges because it's like, what's a
Yeah.
taste?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, that's how I become clients too. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Or yeah, or groups or whatever. I don't have a group now, but when I did, that's another story. When I just, I don't know. I might have a group again. We'll see. But it just was becoming one of those things another thing to keep up on. But
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
on the flip side with the pricing, like sometimes when you see the pricing, you are making a snap judgment of, no, I can't afford that. That's too much. And it's like,
mm,
you might not be thinking about it in the right way of like, okay, but what is the cost of not doing it? Or, all the other things that, come around a mentality of fear, basically.
yeah,
So sometimes I feel like you click on a person, you kind of go through their funnels and you're like, okay, let me just get to the number, and then you get there and you're like, ooh, let me just let me just sneak back. Yeah. So it's like, I
yeah,
feel like they're both, there's no right way. It's always funny to kind of like
yeah.
see who's doing what because there's the reason, they personally, some people don't do it because they've been hard pitched before. And so they're like, I never want someone to get on the phone with me unless, they're comfortable with this price. But then, then there's the flip side. So
Yeah,
it's,
no, both are really good answers. I think, yeah, it depends on the person for sure.
yeah. And like you said, you can switch. That's another thing. Having the permission to pivot.
You can do that anytime you want. There are no
Yes.
rules.
Yeah. No, yeah. You put it up there, then you don't like it, you take it back down. I mean, and I think being able to raise your prices, some people are like, well, if I post them, then if I raise them, people will notice. And it's like, first of all, nobody's noticing. Second of all, like you can change it no matter what. You're allowed to raise your prices.
Yeah, there are no rules. Yeah, yeah. That's
Yes.
what I
And I
like to
think, yeah.
often.
I think having the no rules is like is like an indoor cat going outside and having no ceiling. Like it's too overwhelming.
Yeah. Well, that's why you have to create your own rules. You have to be like, okay, I'm okay with this. I'm okay trying it out. And a lot of about, you know, having your own business is it's a big, you know, I heard somebody say it's a big experiment, and I
Hmm.
love that she said that.
Yeah.
And now I approach everything with that kind of mentality too. Like everything is a big experiment. You know,
Yep.
you have to experiment. Otherwise, you're never going to know what works or what doesn't for you.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
And I was just talking with someone about, giving yourself permission to pivot what you offer.
yeah,
You want to add something or you want to try something and you don't like it, don't keep offering it. Like you don't have to be stuck in something or
never,
a
never.
niche, working with a niche. You start a niche and you don't like that niche or you want to do something else, like switch.
Nothing is stuck. Like nothing is stuck in stone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, yeah. You always have that ability to move. We're always evolving. So our business and the way we do business should be too, right?
Hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, where did your name come from? The Build Your Brilliance.
Oh, so this is an interesting pivot story.
Okay. Love it.
So I've been Caroline Elizabeth for a long time now, since I became a coach, since I started coaching consulting
Hmm.
only. And just through my content, I just Build Your Brilliance just came up. I was like, Build Your Brilliance. And somebody that had done some graphic design for me in the past, she wrote to me and she's like, that could be your new tagline, you know, that's really great. And I was just, oh, that's really good. So I bought the the domain,
Domain. Hmm.
and then I was using the domain, and then I thought, or do I want to use, like, I went back and forth a few times. I was
Hmm.
Caroline Elizabeth, I was Build Your Brilliance, and I was still kind of feeling into this new space because before that I had grown a content marketing business for over 6 years, and that was called Flourish Marketing. So I was Flourish Marketing for 6 years, and here I am. Do I want to use my name or do I want to use this? And
Hmm.
so just in the last 6 months, I realized, okay, Build Your Brilliance really does fit with me. And I do a lot of journaling
Hmm.
over decisions, and I hadn't yet for this particular business name. And I just realized it just really makes sense to my audience, and my clients. They are building a business that is infused with their brilliance, and it
Hmm.
just makes sense. No matter what, if I'm offering a marketing consulting package someday, only because I love also writing for people, or if I'm coaching, I just think this makes sense. So finally registered the business name, and that's and that's what it is. It's and I love the tagline, Build Your Brilliance unapologetically, because you should not apologize for the brilliance, for your own beautiful self that you bring into your business. That's what your business should be. That's what
Hmm.
it should be. You should never apologize for that. So
Yeah, that goes along with like women empowerment, which is actually something I was just talking about too, because and it's Women Empowerment or Women's Day, when
yeah,
International Women's
yeah,
Day is, I feel like the biggest difference between men and women is that women always feel we need to censor ourselves, we need to apologize, we need to hold back, and I think that's so many of the women empowerment books now are like, no, you throw it on the table just like a man does, stand up for yourself, you ask for that raise if you want to be in corporate, you ask for that raise when you deserve it. Women are, that's, I think the biggest wage discrepancy is we're afraid to ask for raises, and men are not,
yeah, yeah.
and that's generalizing a lot. I get it, but
No, but I do see that difference. My husband is in sales, and he's does really well, and I'm just wondering, okay, why are you? He's not your typical salesperson. He's just really good at forming connection,
hmm.
and so I've learned a lot through him as somebody who's able to just ask for that connection and just
Hmm.
form that connection. And why can't women do that? We already are so amazing at forming connections, so why can't we just ask for the sales
Hmm.
after,
Yeah.
that's just, to him, he's like, yeah, that's how business is done. Like, you have to ask for the sale.
Yeah.
You can't just form connection and then that's it. So you have to be unapologetic in that, and that you're an actual business. And this is how you do it. This is who you are. This is your skill and your passion. And yeah,
You should get paid for it.
you should get paid for it. Exactly.
Yeah, no, I know a sales coach, and like that's sales is her only thing, and it's funny because she has like a 12-month membership, but it's basically a repetitive, just go talk to people, and it's so funny because it's like everything boils down to go talk to people, go talk to more people, and there's obviously a lot more to it than that, but it's like that's her first number one like come back at you is, did you talk to enough people today,
Yeah.
and then it's have the confidence to ask for the sale, because it's like half mindset. And actually her sister just joined the business and is doing like complete mindset stuff, because it's like the sales part and then mindset to ask for the sales. It's like they go hand in hand.
Oh, they sure do. Yeah, because I mean, and this also goes along with being afraid of what people think, because there's
Mm-hmm.
so much noise on social media about right or wrong way to have sales, when really
Mm-hmm.
it's just very simple. Go talk to people, go offer your help.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
say, okay, ask that question. Do you want help with this? Okay, this is what I charge. Okay. If
Yeah.
not, this one. So
Well, one of the things that really spoke to me about her specifically was she says, like, my first 7 months of business, I had 0 clients. And I'm
yeah,
like, okay, thank you. Somebody who's like not telling us that they 3 days into their business made 30 grand a year. I mean, a month,
sure.
or a week even, like these people that have these crazy numbers. But like, it
Yeah.
was real with her struggles of like coming from sales corporate and transitioning that into, sales in a different way. And it's like,
As an
it was
entrepreneur.
it was so refreshing that it was like immediately gravitating towards her, and
Yeah.
that's what we want to hear, is that kind of honesty. And of course she did say it after she had clients, but
Yeah.
like I've been watching for a while as she grows. But it's like what you were saying with the authenticity of around being another business owner.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It can be fun to be authentic, like
Mm-hmm.
even when I started doing lives in my group, I had a group of 400 people, and I would just say in my lives, I'm sorry, this is not like my norm. I'm really, really embarrassed right now. And I think it helped other people. And I would get people say, thank you so much for just being so honest. I have now done a live in my group. And
Mm-hmm.
that's nice, to
Mm-hmm.
know, okay, yeah, I'm not going to pretend I'm on this pedestal being perfect, right? So,
Yeah. Well, and
yeah.
lives are just nerve-wracking in general because there's no editing. There's no editing if your husband walks in the room like mine just did, or it's
Yeah, I just heard my kids like run across above me, and I'm like, oh no, I hope they don't come down here.
yeah, I had a dog bark in the last
Yeah.
podcast and we had to stop. And I'm like, sorry,
Oh,
we'll wait for the mailman to leave. Like, it's just, you never know, but it's real life. And I think people like real life.
oh,
You
for sure.
There's
Yeah.
mine running up the stairs. But no, and I see your books behind you and you've written me a couple examples. I see Grit, and I've never read Grit. How's
Oh,
that?
yeah, great. Okay, so here, I'm gonna get it for you.
Okay, thanks.
But my favorite book. So
Okay, I'll
Grit,
get it. Yeah.
actually, Angela Duckworth. This was actually brought home from my husband. So my husband brought this home. His old boss gave it to him, and I love it because she talks all about having passion in what you do, and having that passion is going to help you persevere. And she what else can I say about her? I have not talked about this book in a long time, but it's written in a way that she's not a conversational writer, so it
Okay.
is a little difficult in that way. But she is really good at kind of helping you stand your ground. So when you're feeling down, she says, okay, everybody goes through those ups and those downs, and it's when
Mm-hmm.
you're feeling down that you really have to get that really have to dig in deep and have that grit, because that is going to be the challenge in everything you do, in parenting, in business, in life. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when you're able to kind of understand, okay, this is the grit that's going to get me through. So I recommend this book in that way. You just have to get past um, just the language and the way she writes. You just have to kind of take the message more,
Okay.
and for that I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
So
making business books interesting is, is a challenge. I get it.
yeah,
They're either like very like rah, but not a whole lot of like information, or they're very dry. Like I just read a Notivation by Dr. Kale, which is very like women motivation. Like everyone kept saying no to her. And so she was just like, I'm taking that as a challenge. And I loved it. And she was actually in sales. So I recommend that book. It's Motivation.
Motivation. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was like a very thin, like quick read, but very like get to the point. These are the steps, you know, these are my, I think she called them like tidbits or something.
Yeah.
A lot of swearing, just warning you.
Yeah.
Just sometimes people, you have to warn them about things like that. So she's a little blunt, but it was very much like, this is all the little pieces in my life where people said no. And then I showed them how I did the opposite of that and crushed it. So I loved it. It was very nice. And then I'm reading the 12-week year, which I do chapter at a time because I can't handle more than that. And I have a business degree and I get like one chapter and I'm like, that's so dry. I can't do it, you know, because it's very like, it's slow, you know, it's not even that it's just like facts. It's just, it's very slow. And so like, I'm trying to make it through it because I've heard great things about it. Have you heard of the 12-week year?
I think I have, but I didn't know exactly what it was called, like what it was about or.
Okay. So yeah, the 12-week year is about, instead of thinking in 12 months, you think in 12 weeks. So you time, and that's why I'm really interested in it, because instead of saying I'm planning out my work and my goals for 12 months, you're planning it for 12 weeks. And then you have a reset, you know, like everyone does like a beginning of the year reset. You do it every 12 weeks. So you celebrate your wins, you restart your goals, and you kind of like can stay motivated faster.
I love that. As
Yeah.
we're talking, I know I gave you a list of books and they're also my favorite. But I think that you would love Pia Silva's Badass Your Business.
Okay.
Or Badass Your Brand. Sorry, she's one of my favorites too. I don't think she's here. I don't think she's here.
I write it down. I texted myself.
But Pia Silva, and she is a co-owner of a graphic design business called Worst of All Designs. And I found out about her through a Facebook ad. And so now I follow her and I just love the way she describes how to create the process for your business. Mm-hmm. Just kind of not the 12-week year, but also just kind of, she helps you kind of map out how to plan your business so that you can still take vacation, so that you're not working a 60-hour week. You can actually work a 25-hour week and not still make a better income. And the case studies in there of their clients that they've helped is really, really helpful. She also writes for Forbes, and I love her articles. I share them sometimes on my personal Facebook.
What was the book called again? I'm sorry.
Badass Your Brand.
Okay, thank you. There's so much badass books.
I know. I think she definitely wrote it when it was like, I feel like badass really went, through a real big like uphill trend. And that's, but yeah, I really, really.
I will definitely check that out. I like that. I feel like what's the other one? There's a couple books that I've heard about that are, I think, in the same badass kind of wording, but I've actually heard that they're like a lot of fluff, and I didn't.
Yeah. And this isn't fluff. That's why as you're talking about the 12-week year and how dry it is, mm-hmm. I started thinking about how that's why it's
interesting.
And she's lovely, you know, you just want to be her friend, and it's not fluff at all. She actually goes through the pitfalls of mm-hmm. Of their business in the beginning, when they mm-hmm. thought they had to work hours and hours and charge pennies for it, and then how they transitioned to where they are now, and then how they've helped clients. So I think it's somebody that you would really appreciate.
Awesome. And I do recommend the 12-week year. Just prepare yourself for reading it, not when you're tired or you're going to just fall asleep.
Just like I recommend Grit, but
same thing.
You might have to take some breaks. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is I was reading the Motivation because it was more like fun and, quippy. And then I was like, okay, then I can read a chapter of this. And it was a nice break of having like the two different sides of it, to have more of a fun style one on top of it. But I know that you have on your list, and I could see it behind you, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
I've never read that one either. I've never read any on your list.
Yeah, well, that is really good because it just kind of teaches you how to kind of let things kind of slide from business and life.
Yeah.
the Start With Why, Simon Sinek, he is so good. And he actually got me, I mean, you learn from inspiration, right? So I already knew about, okay, my mission and core message and everything, but
Hmm.
the why, that is such a huge part of your business. And
Hmm.
I feel like I preach him and his words so often to my audience. The Winning the Story Wars by Jonas Sachs.
Hmm.
This is a really good one, just from a marketing perspective, because it really kind of helps you understand how marketing should be an inspiring kind of journey, not something that makes people feel, bad and they need to throw money at a business because of their insecurities. So he gives some really good examples of businesses who have kind of fed on people's anxieties, like past, just thinking like Marlboro, or like people like past. He's given like past examples of yeah, like like people are like, oh, I need to be cool, I need to smoke, and like just really bad, to people like to companies like Nike, just do it, and how they have transitioned their marketing to help inspire people.
Hmm.
And when you grow a community, you tend to grow a more loyal, and a more kind of, and a like a better brand because of it. So it's really important. It's really interesting because it also kind of gives some really good tips on copywriting, and just even just doing kind of videos and social posts. It's just inspiration should be the name of the game in marketing,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, and I'm going to give a slight shout out, but I met a woman through LinkedIn actually who has an HR company, and it's bethechangehr.org.
Ah,
And I love her brand.
yeah.
And I met her and we had a great conversation, but she gives back with, revenue, and she donates to charity, and she pays her employees to do charitable work, helping like underprivileged moms get their first job or stuff like that. And it's
Wow.
just like, it's such a company that I'm like, I want to throw business your way just because I love what you do, even if I don't need your services, kind of thing. And I think we need to be more of those, that
Yeah.
even if we don't need each other's services, we have a reason to kind of want to throw people their way.
Oh, so true. That's a great example of story, inspiration, and why.
Hmm.
Having a good why.
Yeah,
I
no,
love that.
I love it. It's just really pretty website too. I know on one of my to read lists is the Don't Sweat the Small Stuff
Oh
by
yeah.
Richard Collison. I haven't bought it yet, but it's on my to read list. And I actually just bought and haven't read yet a book my husband recommended, um, called it's like Story Brand.
Oh, Donald Miller, Building Your Story,
Yes, I
right?
haven't read that one. That's on my list.
Yeah.
And then I actually did just buy, oh yeah, Building a Story Brand. Yes. And
Yeah.
then I'm waiting for it to come in the mail. I bought The Introvert Entrepreneur.
Oh, I love that.
I haven't read that one either. So that's coming in the mail soon.
So the Donald Miller, he has a podcast too that you have to listen
Oh,
to.
okay.
Yeah, I love his podcast. The Introvert Entrepreneur, you have to read. Yeah, I love
There's so
books.
many good books. I know we need to just have like a Facebook group of like book club.
Wow,
Business book club.
start it. Let's start
Yes.
it.
Okay. It's like the businesswoman's book club, because there's so many good books that I feel like
Yeah.
there's only so much talking you can do sometimes with people to help them. Sometimes they just need to like let it sink in through like a really good book that comes from a different, because we all come from different things and different things speak to us, you know? Some people want a book that's like, rah, rah, you're awesome, but it's fluff because it motivates them. Do you, if that makes you feel great, do you? But
You need that at that point.
yeah.
Yeah,
And some people need to see like, what was your, how did you make it happen? I need to see it happen for somebody else to kind of think through it, which is kind of what, what this podcast was started is like people seeing that people have made it from different walks of life and different scenarios and different backgrounds. I took a background in a completely separate field but I created a business anyways and something I was passionate about. It doesn't
yeah,
matter that you got a education of finance. You can still go start a business doing something completely
yeah.
different.
That's so funny that you said that too, because I went to university to become a social worker, and then here I am.
Yeah, I have a finance degree.
Yeah. So
And I
funny.
was like, I don't want to be an accountant. Thank you.
But
You
I
know?
also, I mean, that also speaks to how we do change and how
Mm-hmm.
we don't necessarily know what we want to be when we're so young. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
life
Oh, I
throws
know.
curveballs your way and you learn and you grow from it. And I think that's okay. I mean, I'm not saying even in 10 years I'll be doing what I'm doing now. Who knows? I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
want to be, but who knows where life experience will take you. And that's
Mm-hmm.
fine.
Well,
Yeah.
and it's not saying that we're completely throwing out our degrees, because, like, sure, there's plenty of things you can do without a degree, but I feel like my degree helped mold my business, and I'm sure your social work one helped mold, how to communicate with people and for your business.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I
Maybe
think
it's not one for one, but
yeah, I definitely do agree with that. I think every experience should never be discounted.
hmm
I think it should be just kind of placed in there as okay, awesome, that's going to add to my life in some
yeah,
way. So,
yeah,
yeah, we don't have to go down a specific road just because we signed up to go down that road. It could just
yeah.
be something that just kind of adds to that the beautiful part of your brilliance, right?
hmm
So,
I think
yeah.
there's also like the sunken cost fallacy, which is like, I spent $200,000 on my degree, therefore I didn't, I promise. But like, because I did, I need to now stay in that industry,
Yeah.
and it's like, I mean, even people who took out 20 grand could still be paying for it. Trust me. It's like,
Yeah.
it's not the dollar amount. It's that, you paid for something. I need to like stick with it. And it's like, if it's not serving you and it's not making you happy, you do not need to stick with
Yeah, it's like a bad relationship just because you put that time in.
it. Yes. Well, that's the hardest thing. Yeah. I committed 10 years of my life to you. I don't want to start over. I just
Exactly.
tell my husband I'm not getting married again. Like, I'm not doing it over just because I don't want to start over,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
I know. Ooh.
But yeah, no, and I feel like we could talk about like a billion things, but I know, yeah, the
Sure.
book thing was fantastic. All right, well, I will end with my favorite question, which is, if you had a billboard, what would it look like? What would it say?
I know. I thought of this and it goes back to I love my tagline, I guess.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, you're the only one in charge of your life. So
Mm-hmm.
why not go and build your brilliance unapologetically?
Yes. And what would it look like?
Put that up.
Colors?
Oh, okay. So um what would it look like? It would
I guess
just
you have brand colors, right?
okay, I'll tell you, it would be a huge billboard, no photo. It would be navy blue with white bold lettering. That's what it would look
Love
like.
it.
I just
Nice.
want people to just no distractions. This is about you.
I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah. One of the other podcasts said, stay in your lane. And I was like, I love it.
yeah. Oh yeah,
There's
I
so
love
many
that.
good ones.
Yeah, stay in your lane, please.
But she didn't mean it like,
No, I
don't
know.
go outside of it. Hers
No,
was more like, don't worry about people passing you kind of thing, which I thought
right.
was an
Yeah,
interesting. But I
yeah.
like the stay in your lane because it tends to be like, don't deviate, just try to do it good like this, and then
No, I
it was
love
just,
that. I
it
love
was
that
really
saying.
funny.
It's true. I mean, it goes back to also, yeah, don't like what I was saying before. Like, don't look at what other people are doing. Like, who cares? Who cares what they're doing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You two kind of like got to the same
Yeah,
message from completely different places,
really
completely different businesses.
love hearing that.
I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
So, what kind of tidbit are you going to give listeners? You have a little freebie.
Oh, yeah. So the freebie, I have a couple of freebies. So one, so we'll share this, but one is my top compelling steps to strengthening your brand.
Mm-hmm.
And what those are, they're a few really kind of deeper coaching questions that I ask my clients. So you download this document and you ask yourselves these questions to get
Mm-hmm.
really deep in your brand, and then you can use those answers to create a deeper brand.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is my top 6 steps to getting unstuck. So if you
Mm-hmm.
feel stuck in your business or you feel stuck in a process, these 6 steps will help you start moving again.
Nice. So it's kind of a starter package to before working with you, like do
Exactly.
these things, see how you're feeling, and then like call me when you're not,
Yeah,
you
call
know.
me when you're ready.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Love it. Awesome. And where can people find you? I'll put
Uh,
it down below.
yeah, so definitely on Instagram. I'm very active on there, and you can find
Nice.
me. I am Caroline Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram. You can also find me on my website, so buildyourbrilliance.com, and I have a blog on there that will offer some helpful information there too.
Nice. I was picturing your billboard with the gold lettering because of your brand colors, but I
Yeah,
like the navy
yeah,
and white. I know, like, very little detraction from the message.
right. Yeah, I like I love the navy, the gold, and pink. That's kind of
Yeah,
just
no,
drops. Love
yeah,
it.
whatever makes you. I'm really into like the marble, like pinky marble look that's going on right now. Everything's
Yeah.
like very
Ooh,
marble.
let's do this.
Yeah, see, like the pink
Yeah,
marble.
yeah.
I know. I'm gonna get a mouse pad. I have it on my Amazon shopping cart. That's just like your phone, actually, because
Wow,
it's
yeah.
it's so like fresh but clean but power feeling. That's what I get out of it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and feminine too at the same time, like
Yes.
elegant feminine. Yeah,
Elegant, definitely,
yeah.
definitely. Well, thank you so much for coming. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for having me.
All
That's
right.
so much fun.
Well, everyone go check her out. Even if, you get stuck, she's going to help you.
I'm here for you.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, have a great night.
Thanks, Steph.
Bye.
Bye.